Hello everyone. Today's my lecture is on thalamus. Connection of specific projection nuclei. So this nuclei receive the specific sensation and project to the specific portion of neocortex and limbic system. And depending upon the type of the sensation, the specific projection nuclei can be divided into four groups: specific sensory relay nuclei, motor control nuclei, visceral efferent control nuclei, and integrative and perceptual function control nuclei. Now specific sensory relay nuclei that includes medial geniculate body, lateral geniculate body, and posteroventral group of nuclei. Specific sensory relay nuclei. So first of all, medial geniculate body, afferents. So medial geniculate body that receive a topically organized projection of auditory fibers from the cochlear nerve, lateral lemniscus, and also from the inferior colliculi. So this one is a auditory cortex. So it receives impulses from the cochlear nerve, both this cochlear nerve, then lateral lemniscus, and from the inferior colliculus. This one is a auditory cortex, and this is a medial geniculate body. Okay, so medial geniculate body receive auditory fibers from cochlear nerve, then lateral lemniscus and inferior colliculus. Now efferents from the medial geniculate body project on to the auditory area of cerebral cortex. So this one, auditory cortex, area 41 and 42. So these are efferent fibers and these are afferent fibers. So destruction of the small part of the medial geniculate body that produces deafness of particular band of sound frequency. So this one is a figure of connection of medial geniculate body. Now lateral geniculate body. So lateral about the afferent fibers. So lateral geniculate body that shows an organized representation of retina, and they receive the projection from the optic tract from both the eyes, temporal fibers of the same side and nasal fibers of opposite side, and they also receive projection from superior colliculi. Lateral geniculate body that receive projections from the superior colliculus, and in the lateral geniculate body the macula is represented in caudal 2/3, and whereas the remaining retina that is represented in rostral 1/3. And efferents from the lateral geniculate body project topographically on the visual cortex of occipital lobe, area 17, 18 and 19. So this one is a visual cortex. So from the lateral geniculate body project topographically on the visual cortex of occipital lobe. So this is a connection of lateral geniculate body. So afferents from the optic tract from both the eyes, temporal fibers of same side and nasal fibers of opposite side, and they also receives the projections from the superior colliculus. Then ventral posterior nucleus. Afferents, the ventral posterior nucleus has two divisions: ventral posterior lateral and ventral posterior medial. So ventral posterior lateral and ventral posterior medial are the sites of termination of ascending somatic afferent tract. So these are a afferent and efferent connection of some of the thalamic nuclei. A means this one is a anterior nucleus. Then VA, that means ventral anterior nucleus, ventral lateral nucleus. Then VP. Okay, VP means ventral posterior nucleus. Then P means pulvinar. Here this one is a pulvinar. Okay. And lateral geniculate body, medial geniculate body. So these are the afferent and these are the efferent connection. Now ventral posterior lateral and ventral posterior medial are the site of the termination of ascending somatic afferent tract. Now the medial lemniscus that carrying afferent fibers from the gracile nucleus, cuneatus nucleus and spinothalamic afferents that terminate in the VPL. So the VPL receive the somatosensory impulses like touch, pressure, pain and proprioceptive temperature and kinesthetic sensation from the trunk and limbs, the whole body except face. And the trigeminal lemniscus that carrying afferents from the face taste fibers terminate in the VPM. So the VPM receives the somatosensory impulses from the face along with the sensation of taste. In the ventral posterior nucleus, a topographic representation of the body can be demonstrated. Then efferents. So ventral posterior nucleus is the main sensory nucleus and its efferents go to the sensory cortex area 3, 1 and 2, posterocentral gyrus via posterior limb of internal capsule. So these are a major connection of the ventral posterior nucleus of thalamus. Now motor control nuclei, in which first ventrolateral nucleus. Friends, ventrolateral nucleus is the chief motor nucleus of the thalamus and it acts as a relay station for the cerebellar impulses. It receives dendrothalamic fibers from the dentate nucleus of the opposite cerebellar hemisphere. It also receives fibers from the globus pallidus via thalamic fasciculus. Efferents from the ventrolateral nucleus project on the primary motor cortex and premotor cortex area 4 and 6 via posterior limb of internal capsule. And this relay proprioceptive information and voluntary motor function. Now ventral anterior nucleus. So friends, the ventral anterior nucleus is involved in the programming of movements controlled by basal ganglia. So this one is a ventral anterior nucleus, ventral anterior nucleus. And its afferents come from the globus pallidus, cerebellum and substantia nigra. And efferents from the ventral anterior nucleus go to the premotor cortex. So these are the afferents. So it receives afferents from the substantia nigra, globus pallidus and efferents from the premotor cortex. Visceral efferent control nuclei that includes anterior group of the nucleus and dorsomedial nucleus. So anterior nucleus and dorsomedial nucleus. This all is a dorsomedial nucleus. Visceral efferent control nuclei. First is anterior nucleus. So afferent. Anterior nucleus belongs to Papez circuit of limbic system and it is concerned with the recent memory and emotion. It receives afferents from the hippocampus directly via fornix and relayed through mammillary body or mammillothalamic tract. This one, okay, afferents anterior nucleus, afferents from mammillary body, mammillothalamic tract, and efferent from the anterior nucleus go to cingulate gyrus, area 24 of the cerebral cortex. Now dorsal medial nucleus. So dorsal medial nucleus has a reciprocal connection with the prefrontal cortex and hypothalamus. Its point-to-point interconnection with the prefrontal cortex imply important function in thinking, memory, judgment and the emotional behavior. Then fourth one is integrative and perceptual function control nuclei, and that includes pulvinar nucleus, lateral posterior nucleus and dorsal lateral nucleus. So pulvinar nucleus. So friends, pulvinar nucleus is concerned with the integration of visual, auditory and other sensation, and it receives afferents from the superior and inferior colliculus. So this one is a pulvinar that receives afferents from the superior colliculus and inferior colliculus, and efferents go to parietal, then occipital and superior temporal cortex or auditory and visual association area. Then lateral posterior nucleus. This one is a lateral posterior nucleus. It receives fibers from the superior colliculus, and efferents from the lateral posterior nucleus reach the cerebral cortex of superior parietal lobule. They also reach the cingulate and parahippocampal area. Dorsal lateral nucleus. Afferents, it receives afferents from the superior colliculus, and efferents, that projection reach the cingulate gyrus, parahippocampal gyrus and parts of the hippocampal formation. Some fibers reach the cortex of the parietal lobe. So these are the table of connection and functions of the major thalamic nuclei. These are the specific nuclei. These are the non-specific nuclei, and afferent fibers, major efferents and functions. So first of all, lateral ventral cortex movement. So major afferents are dendrothalamic tract and palidothalamic tract, and efferents thalamocortical tract to motor area 4 and 6. And main functions are proprioceptive input to control of voluntary movement. Then posteroventral nuclei. So afferents fibers are spinothalamic fibers, trigeminothalamic fibers and medial lemniscus. And major efferents to sensory cortex, area 3, 1 and 2. And main functions relay of all the somatosensory input including face. Then dorsal lateral pulvinar. The major afferents from the parietal lobe, from parietal, temporal and occipital lobe, and major efferents to parietal lobe, to parietal and temporal and occipital lobes, and functions are main language and speech, integrates somatic, auditory and visual information. Then lateral geniculate body and medial geniculate body. Major afferents are from optic tract, from cochlea and inferior colliculi, and major efferents to visual cortex, to auditory cortex, and functions are related to vision and audition. Now non-specific nuclei, that includes anterior group, afferents from mammillothalamic tract, major efferents to cingulate gyrus and functions related to memory and emotion. midline group nuclei that are friends from all ascending fibers and from hypothalamus and reticular formation, and major efferents to neocortex and basal ganglia and hypothalamus. And functions are integration of somatic and visceral sensation and arousal. Intralaminar from reticular activating system and basal ganglia, and major efferents to neocortex and prefrontal cortex. Functions are arousal and motor functions. Then dorsomedial synthesis. So afferents from the hypothalamus and prefrontal cortex, major efferents to prefrontal cortex, and functions are association center for the crude somatic sensation. Then I discuss about the functions of the thalamus, and these are the most important topic. First of all, thalamus that acts as a sensory relay station or center. Almost all the sensory impulses except olfactory, they reach the thalamic nuclei which relay them to the cerebral cortex by series of the projection fibers collectively termed the thalamic radiation or ascending thalamocortical system. Because of this, the thalamus is usually considered the head ganglion of all the sensory system. Then center for the integration of sensory impulses. The thalamus is not only a great relay station for all the sensation but also forms a major center for the integration and modification of peripheral sensory impulses before the impulses are projected to specific areas of cerebral cortex. This function of the thalamus is known as processing of sensory information. And because of this, the thalamus is usually considered as a functional gateway of cerebral cortex. So why the thalamus is known as functional gateway of cerebral cortex? Then third function is crude center for the perception of sensation. In addition to processing and relaying of the sensation, the thalamus is also acts as a crude center for sense perception. Pain sensation is perceived in the thalamus itself. Usually the sensation have two qualities, the discriminative nature and affective nature. Now the discriminative nature is the ability to recognize the type, location and other details of sensation, and it is a function of cerebral cortex. The affective nature is the capacity to determine whether a sensation is pleasant or unpleasant and agreeable or disagreeable, and it is the function of thalamus. Fourth function of thalamus is center for the integration of motor function. So thalamus receives the output from the basal ganglia and the cerebellum before projecting it to the motor cortex, thereby helping in the integration of motor function by unconscious regulation of muscle tone. Then role in the emotional aspect of behavior. Because of the intimate connection between the thalamus and frontal cortex and hypothalamus, the thalamus is involved in subjective feeling of various emotion. So it acts as a part of limbic system. It also forms a part of Papez circuit, and it is concerned with the recent memory and emotion. Then role in language. The thalamus is also concerned with the language or speech function. Integration between the different cortical parts by subcortical connection in the thalamus helps to achieve speech. Then role in the synchronization of the electroencephalogram. Thalamus that plays a very important role in genesis of synchronization of electroencephalogram. Then center for the integration of visceral and somatic function. The thalamus receives the somatic as well as the autonomic sensation, and it is also connected with the hypothalamus. Because of this, it also acts as a center for the integration of visceral and somatic functions. Then center for sexual sensation. So thalamus that also acts as a center for perception of sexual sensation. Then center for reflex activity. All the sensory fibers relay in the thalamus, so it forms the center for the many reflex activities. Now I am discussing about the applied physiology or thalamic lesion. So thalamic lesion that occurs mainly because of blockage due to thrombosis in the thalamo-geniculate branch of posterior cerebral artery. Mostly the posteroventral nuclei of thalamus are affected because the thalamo-geniculate branch of posterior cerebral artery supplies this part of thalamus. Lesion of the thalamus that leads to condition that is known as thalamic syndrome. Now thalamic syndrome. So what is the thalamic syndrome? So that is a neurological disease caused by infarction of posteroventral part of thalamus, and it is a rare disease and it has many names. In the thalamic syndrome, whole body becomes hypersensitive to pain, and effect of the thalamic lesion occur in the contralateral or opposite side. And synonyms of the thalamic syndrome that are listed in the next slide. So these are the synonyms of the thalamic syndrome. Deserine-Rose syndrome, thalamic hyperesthetic anesthesia, thalamic pain syndrome, central pain syndrome, then central post-stroke pain syndrome, posterior thalamic syndrome, and retroventricular syndrome. So what is the Deserine-Rose syndrome? So it is a very rare neurological condition in which the stroke to the part of the human brain which controls the sensation, thalamus, that results in excessive pain in response to reduced sensation or mild stimulation. So what are the symptoms? Abnormal sensation of cold on one side of the body, abnormal sensation of heat on one side of the body, then chorioathetoid movements, cramps and muscle spasm, and emotional overreaction. So that is a Deserine-Rose syndrome. Now following are the symptoms of the thalamic syndrome. Loss of sensation means anesthesia that occurs as a sensory relay system in the thalamus affected. Then asteriognosis. Asteriognosis is the loss of the ability to recognize a known object by touch with closed eye, and it is due to loss of tactile and kinesthetic sensation in thalamic syndrome. Third is ataxia. Ataxia means to incoordination of the voluntary movements, and it occurs due to loss of kinesthetic sensation. And this type of ataxia due to loss of sensation, that is known as sensory ataxia, and it is very common in thalamic syndrome. So this one is a ataxia. There is a incoordination of the voluntary movements. Okay, and there is a loss of sensation, that is known as sensory ataxia, and it is a very common in thalamic syndrome. Then thalamic phantom limb. the patient is unable to locate the position of the limb with closed eye, and the patient may search for the limb in the air or may have the illusion that the limb is lost. That is known as thalamic phantom limb. Then anosognosia. So anosognosia, that is the lack of awareness or denial of existence of the neurological defect or general illness or any disability. So anosognosia, an inability or refusal to recognize a defect or disorder that is clinically evident. Then spontaneous pain and thalamic overreaction. So spontaneous pain occurs very often. Pain stimulus is felt more acutely than in normal condition, hyperalgesia. Pain may be so intense that it even resists the action of powerful sedative like morphine. Threshold for the pain is a very much reduced. Even the light touch may be unpleasant, and sometimes the patient feels pain even in the absence of the pain stimulus, and it becomes worst in the conditions such as emotional disturbances and exposure to cold or heat. Pain is due to overactivity of the medial mass of the nuclei of thalamus which escape the lesion. Abnormal reaction to various stimuli is called thalamic overreaction. Then involuntary movements. Thalamic syndrome is always associated with some involuntary motor movements. Then athetosis. Athetosis means slow writing and twisting movements. So in athetosis, movements are typically very slow, twisting and writing. They are associated with spasticity and most commonly involve the face, neck and distal extremities. Now in chorea, the movements are brief, rapid and jerky and unpredictable, and they can occur at rest or during the normal movement and typically involves hands, lower arm, face and head. So these are the distinguished features of athetosis and chorea. So chorea means quick, jerky, involuntary movements. Now intention tremor. The tremor is defined as rapid, alternate, rhythmic and involuntary movements of flexion and extension in the joints of fingers and wrist or elbow. Intention tremor is the tremor that develops while attempting to do any voluntary act. And intention tremor is the common feature of thalamic syndrome. So these are the intention tremor, and that occurs while attempting to do any voluntary act. So this person can try to take this apple. Then there occurs a involuntary movements of whole hand. Okay. So intention tremor occurs when you reach for something and your hand starts shaking. Now this is a postural tremor. Occurs when your muscles try to hold parts of your body still against the gravity. So these are the main parts of tremor: intention and postural or resting tremor. Now thalamic hand or athetoid hand. Athetoid hand is the abnormal attitude of hand in thalamic lesion, and it is characterized by moderate flexion at wrist and hyperextension of all fingers. So this one is a athetoid hand and characterized by moderate flexion at wrist and hyperextension of all the fingers. Now Korsakoff syndrome. that refers to lesion of the mediodorsal nucleus of thalamus characterized by difficulty in remembering the new information. Then frontal lobotomy. For relief of intractable pain, connection of the dorsal nuclei of the thalamus with the frontal lobe are divided surgically, especially by an operation that is known as frontal lobotomy, after which the patient feels the pain but does not show disagreeable response. So Korsakoff syndrome, that is a chronic memory disorder caused by severe deficiency of thiamine, vitamin B1. And Korsakoff syndrome is most commonly caused by alcohol misuse, but certain other conditions that can also cause the syndrome. So this is a deficiency of thiamine, and this is a alcohol induced toxicity that are the causes of Korsakoff's syndrome. So this one is the list of reference books: Guyton, then Ganong, Snell's Clinical Neuroanatomy, then Indu Khurana and G.K. Pal. Thank you very much.